Did you know that the iPhone 18 Pro's new colors just leaked on the actual camera island metal, not just in a vague Pantone swatch? And one of them, dark cherry, looks like Apple's lining up the next everyone copies this finish. Alright, here's the deal. We already heard the iPhone 18 Pro and 18 Pro Max would land in 4 colors: dark gray, dark cherry, silver, and light blue. But that earlier leak was basically a color chart. Now a leaker out of China is showing those shades on the camera island itself, which matters because Apple's Pro colors live or die on how the metal catches light, not how a flat render looks. So in this video, we're going to do 3 things fast. Talk through what the leak actually shows, why dark cherry is probably the hero color, and then hit the bigger iPhone 18 Pro rumors you actually care about, like battery, camera upgrades, and Apple's weird new split launch plan. First, the camera island leaks. If you've ever bought a Pro iPhone because it just looks expensive, you already know the camera bump is basically the signature. It's the most visible slab of metal on the entire phone. It's what people see when it's face down on a table, when it's in a clear case, and honestly, when you're holding it in the mirror like you're not checking the fit. So seeing the colors on that piece is way more useful than seeing a Pantone chip, because the island's finish can look darker, warmer, or more saturated depending on texture and lighting. Now, the 4 reported names again: dark gray, dark cherry, silver, and light blue. Silver first, because it's the easiest. The rumor says it's basically identical to the iPhone 17 Pro Silver. Classic, safe, reflective, and the one that looks clean in every case color. If you want the "I'm not trying to be flashy, but I bought the top model" vibe, silver is that. Dark gray is the next safe one, but safe in a good way. This is the shade people wanted when the iPhone 17 Pro models didn't go truly dark. If Apple nails this, it'll be the stealth pick, minimal, pro, and it hides wear better than lighter finishes. Also, dark gray almost always photographs well, which matters if you're the type to sell your phone later and you want it to look flawless in listing photos. Light blue is the interesting curveball. It's being compared to Apple's light blue on the MacBook Air, and that's a very specific vibe. Calm, modern, kind of airy. Not childish blue, not electric blue, more like premium tech in daylight. If this is accurate, it's going to look insanely good in bright lighting and kind of disappear in low light, which could be a plus if you want color without screaming. Now we get to dark cherry. This is the one. The leak calls it a red wine color, and that's exactly the right mental image. Deep red, a little maroon, elegant, and darker than the typical product red energy people imagine. This isn't loud red, it's mature. It's the kind of finish that looks almost black until the light hits it, then you catch that red tone, and it does that double take thing. And yes, it's widely expected to be the hero color, replacing cosmic orange from the iPhone 17 Pro line. If you remember how fast Chinese Android brands jumped on that orange vibe with their own sunset and Titan colors, expect the same thing here. That's not shade, it's just the truth of the market. Apple puts out a premium, tasteful color, and everyone else tries to ride the wave. And the early audience reaction lines up with that. In a poll about these colors, nearly half of voters, 48.5%, picked dark cherry as their favorite. That's not a close win. That's a landslide. Dark gray came second at just under 20%, light blue was around 16%, and silver was basically the "I will take whatever" pick at a little over 4%. Then you've got about 11% saying none of these are appealing, which is fair if you just want true black or something wild. Now I want to make something clear: color leaks are fun, but Apple's real skill is how the finish behaves in motion. Under indoor lighting, outdoor sun, warm restaurant lights, and cold office LEDs. If dark cherry is real and Apple executes it the way they usually do on Pro materials, it's going to look expensive in a way photos don't fully capture. Personally, I'm usually a black phone person, always have been. Black is simple, it matches everything, and it doesn't get old fast. And honestly, the lack of a true black vibe on the iPhone 17 Pro models made alternatives like the iPhone Air feel more tempting to me than they should have. But dark cherry is one of those rare colors that could actually pull people away from black. Not because it's flashy, but because it's different without being weird. It's the kind of color that still feels professional. The kind you can bring to a meeting, then take to a concert, and it doesn't feel out of place. And here's the bigger thought. If Apple is heading toward an iPhone 20 Pro with a display that has no keytouts at all, which is the rumor floating around for next year's model, imagine that design paired with a deep dark cherry finish. That's the kind of combination that makes people switch platforms. Not because they suddenly love iOS, but because the hardware looks like the future and feels like jewelry. Okay, now the practical upgrades. Battery first, because this is where the iPhone 18 Pro Max rumor gets spicy. The report says Apple could be pushing the biggest iPhone battery ever, somewhere around 5,100 to 5,200 mAh. If that's true, it's a serious jump in capacity for Apple, and it's paired with the expectation that the A20 Pro chip will be more efficient too. Bigger tank, better fuel economy. But there's always a trade. A bigger battery can mean a thicker phone. The rumor says the 18 Pro Max could land around 8.75 to 8.8 millimeters thick and weigh about 240 grams. That's not tiny phone territory. That's you feel it in your hand territory. Some people will hate that. Some people will take that deal instantly if it means they can finish a full day with heavy camera use, 5G, and navigation, and still have battery left at night. Now cameras. The big headline rumor is variable aperture. If Apple actually brings manual aperture control to the iPhone 18 Pro Max, that's a massive move for creators. It means you can control how much light hits the sensor, and you can influence depth of field in a more deliberate way. In normal human terms, more control over background blur and exposure without relying entirely on computational guesses. There's also talk that the primary and telephoto lenses could get a bigger aperture to pull in more light in bad lighting. That's what you want for night shots, indoor shots, and any situation where your phone usually turns faces into soft, noisy smears. Another report says at least one of the 3 rear sensors could use a 3-layer stacked image sensor developed by Samsung. That kind of sensor tech usually aims at faster readout, better dynamic range, and less distortion. And yes, the expectation is still a 48-megapixel triple camera setup on the back. On the front camera, the rumor is a jump to 24 megapixels, up from 18 on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. If you do a lot of video calls, selfies, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or just front camera video in general, that upgrade matters more than people admit. The front cam is the camera most people use the most, even if they don't want to say it out loud. Now, while the Pro line is sounding ambitious, there's a separate rumor that Apple is downgrading the standard iPhone 18 to cut costs. A leaker on Weibo, Fixed Focus Digital, claims there are manufacturing downgrades to bring the iPhone 18 closer to the cheaper iPhone 18e model. That could mean changes to manufacturing processes, chips, memory, and other internals. We don't know the exact list of differences yet, but if Apple keeps the pattern from the 17 and 17e, the usual separations are things like dynamic island versus notch, display size, ProMotion, brightness, front camera, ultra-wide camera, and battery life. So it'll be interesting to see which of those lines stay firm and which ones blur. And this ties into the weirdest part, the launch strategy. The Pro models, iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max, are expected in September, like normal. But the standard iPhone 18 may launch months later as part of a split release. The fall event could include the iPhone 18 Pro, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, and a foldable iPhone Ultra. Then in spring 2027, we might get the iPhone 18e, the iPhone 18, and the iPhone Air 2. If Apple really does that, it changes the buying decision. Because suddenly the Pro models aren't just more expensive, they're available now, and the standard model becomes the wait-for-later option. On pricing, the rumor says the iPhone 18 Pro line could stay in the same range as last year, with Apple absorbing increased manufacturing costs. That could mean a US starting price around $1,199 for the Pro Max. But outside the US, especially in India, people are already bracing for a hike, and that tracks with how pricing has been moving. So here's the big picture. The iPhone 18 Pro rumors are stacking up as a mix of style and substance. Dark cherry as the hero color, a potential battery monster Pro Max, real camera control upgrades, and a more complicated launch lineup that pushes more attention onto the Pro models first. And honestly, that's why this camera island leak matters. Apple knows the Pro phones aren't just bought for specs. They're bought because you want the best, and you want it to look like the best. If dark cherry lands the way it's supposed to, it's going to be the color you keep seeing in public, the one you recognize instantly, the one people ask about. If you want more iPhone 18 leaks the moment they hit, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next big drop will likely be display and camera module details. And tell me in the comments, dark cherry, dark gray, light blue, or silver, which one would you actually buy? Community call time, be brutally honest in the comments. Are you picking a color because you love it or because it'll have the best resale value a year from now? Name your pick and your reason, and I'll pin the smartest take. See you in the next one. Goodbye.